Hey, I am Benjamin Morton, President and CEO of the Power of the Positive Pivot. I want to welcome you to this year's Jack and Jill Power of the Positive Pivot National Black History Month Dance Challenge. But before we get to the challenge, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the pivot, which is the 5-step methodology that the think tank in which I own, Power of the Positive Pivot, we've come up with. There's 5 elements of the methodology. They're sort of the roots of the Power of the Positive Pivot. As you can see, I am a former basketball player before I became a doctor and an attorney. Now, let's talk real quick about the 5 steps of the Power of the Positive Pivot. Now, before I get into the steps, I want to explain how the pivot works in basketball. Basketball is a very powerful sport. One of the best moves in basketball is the pivot. And what's key about the pivot is you must land on both feet, solid, strong, hold the ball. Certainly, if nothing else, it's not a weak move. In order to most effectively use the pivot, you must come down on both feet at the same time. Just in life, you must land solid before you start making moves and making decisions. So you land, you pivot. When you land on both feet, that gives you each leg in which the option to pivot. You can pivot right, or you can pivot left. That's an outward pivot. You can pivot back, or you can pivot back. So you have at least those 4 basic options to put yourself in the best position to score. As in life, you want to use the pivot as you pivot through life to put yourself in the best position to make the most effective decisions, regardless of how small or large that decision may be. Now, the P in pivot stands for positive. Everything you do, you want to approach it with a very positive attitude. You want to approach it and put it in the best positive light in all your decisions, no matter how big or how small. You want to neutralize all the negative people and all the negative energy around you. So that's the P in positive. The I is issue. We have to understand the various issues around us, and we must address the issues that we're facing correctly. If you're positive and you're addressing the wrong issue, you're dead from the beginning. So you must identify the issue, and not only identifying that issue, you must frame that issue in a light and in a terminology that's most favorable to you. Don't let anyone come in your life and frame your issues or dictate your issues. You determine your issues. You frame that issue. The V, the V in pivot is visualize. Visualize yourself making shots. Visualize yourself going to law school, medical school, playing pro ball, playing pro football, NFL, NBA, being an engineer. Visualize it in your mind, and then you can find yourself in a better position to actually achieve it. I always tell people, conceive it in your heart first. Conceive it in the heart. You believe it in your mind, and then you achieve it physically. That physical achievement does not come without visualization. So the V is visualization. The O in the pivot is own it. No matter what's happening around you, regardless of the other variables and factors and influence that may have put you in the situation that you're in, recognize those. By all means, don't deny them. But the key is that you own your life. You're the author, you're the director, you're the star. It is your story to tell, it's your narrative to write. Don't let anyone dictate to you what your narrative is. You own it, you write it, you produce it. The O in pivot is one of the most valuable assets of the Power of the Positive Pivot. So you own your life, you own your decisions, the good ones or the bad ones. And finally, the T. The T is triumphant. You follow these steps, you are going to come out triumphant regardless of the outcome, because the pivot is not outcome determinative. It's about your growth and understanding throughout the process. It's not outcome determinative. It's about you growing and giving and going through a process and developing professionally and developing personally. So if you follow those steps, there's a lot more detail that we'll go into later, but if you follow those steps, the PIVOT, that's the Power of the Positive Pivot. Welcome to the launch. Thank you. So listen, there's a couple of key pivots in basketball that's analogous to your pivots in life. So I'm going to show you a few of those pivots. Again, the key, land strong, Pivot on either foot. Keep the defense on their toes. Put yourself in the best position to put this ball in that basket. Pivot. 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 Rebound. Pivot. Power and a positive pivot. You need to be able to do it on the basketball court. And of course, if you don't play basketball, you need to be able to do it in life. P-I-V-O-T. The power of the positive pivot. Now it's time for the dance challenge.
MC, make another hit.
This ain't what you want.
Project
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. 16 is live. I just wanna rock. I just wanna rock. I just wanna rock. Body out of ya. Shorty got that body out of ya. Hit it once, no time. Set up. You gon' kill my vibe. Stand on my money, don't know my side.